O'Neill, 2 L's. I serve the SGC under a General Hammond.
We're explorers. You see, we're from another planet.
The unstable vortex of a forming wormhole. Kawoosh.
Indeed.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kawoosh podcast. I am your host Arne. I am joined as always by my co-host.
Are you getting tired of me?
No.
Okay, that was really fast. You were ready with that.
It must be the truth.
All right then.
So tell me, what episode are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing Message in a Bottle.
Yeah, and last time I said I thought it was a Jack-centric episode, but it wasn't really.
Well, I mean...
Something significant happened to him.
Yeah, but it was still like all the attention eventually centered around Jack, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it was
just
more
him.
of a Sam episode, and maybe some Daniel as well. More sciencey, anyway.
Yeah, but Teal'c still got to do cool stuff. It was an on-Earth episode.
Yeah, it was all in the SGC, except for the cold open.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Yes.
So it opens up with some footage of what looks like astronauts on the moon, but it is revealed to be another planet. And Teal'c says it is Tal-Lak. And the astronauts, of course, turn out to be SG-1, and they are walking towards a giant building or of some sort in a otherwise moon-like crater-filled landscape.
Which does beg the question, how come that structure survived if everything else is moon cratered?
Yeah.
I'm doing it again, aren't I?
Overthinking it a little
Yeah.
bit. Well, they do find something very important inside, so maybe they built that to last, because that is what eventually the thing within is meant to do.
Yeah.
So could be. They go inside this big structure and they find an artifact that is giving off traces of radiation. It is some kind of metal orb with some markings on it. That's all they can see. They do find out it's ancient, probably older than mankind. So Daniel thinks it might be some sort of time capsule of the civilization that lived on that planet.
See, time capsule.
Time capsule.
Better.
And Teal'c mentions that the Goa'uld, sometimes when they have conquered something, they leave behind a trap. But the rest don't really go for that one. But
Well, somebody mentions booby trapped, because then Teal'c like cocks his eyebrow, really confused, and goes, booby? And the fact that this series was before memes really kicked off is kind of a shame in that moment. Like, this would have been...
yeah, this would have launched 1,000 memes.
Yes, probably. Also, while we're at them, in the suits, they're wearing helmets, but Daniel has his glasses on. And as a glass-wearing person myself, this confuses me. Like, do you know how many times per day I go like this, or like this, or like... How does he deal with that? Like, even if I'm driving my scooter home, like, sometimes halfway I'm going like, oh, crook. Like, how? And it's not like he needs them, so why does he have them on?
Well, yeah.
Like, what is it? Again, I'm overthinking it. But, or does he have like this, do astronauts have this special thingy that keeps their glasses on their face?
Might be, because I can imagine in 0G you don't want your glasses to go floating
Yes,
off.
but you have to have perfect eyesight even to be a pilot.
Yeah,
Are you
that's
allowed
true.
to not have perfect eyesight and be an
That
astronaut?
is very true.
Today on Overthinking with
Ask
Evie.
Dirk Friedmouth. I'll get his number.
I just love overthinking things like this.
Anyway, Jack decides that he wants to return home, and they take the artifact with them and they put it in the MALP, and we
Yes!
see it light up right before they drive out of there.
And there's foreboding music, and also they say, let's pack it in. And they don't even put padding in there. They just put it
Yeah, in a metal
box, and there's so much room around it. I'm like,
It's gonna roll around.
it's gonna roll around, right?
Anyway, we cut to the opening. And when we come back, there's a big kawoosh, and the SGC comes through the Stargate in the SGC, and they're awaited by Hammond. And they want to examine the device as quickly as possible.
But Jack suggests a level 3 thingy.
Yeah, they are careful now. So,
hang on.
Careful.
He says, I suggest a level 3 containment, whatever. And then he takes his helmet off. The thing is still in the room. Hammond has
he's
protection.
just standing there.
And then they're gonna go and remove it from the MALP. I'm like, is this level 3? Like, is the gloves? Is it the gloves? Is gloves level 3? Like, what is the precaution here? I am very confused. But, you know.
Yeah. They do set it up in one of the labs. So it's contained within that lab while they do their tests on it. Sam remarks that they might have to add two new elements to the periodic table. And there's this lab technician that gets nervous around Sam when she's there, and Daniel thinks he might have a little crush. So this guy is Simmons.
I wrote it down. It's Graham Simmons.
Yeah.
And Daniel says this while the mic is still on, so the guy gets even more flustered because somebody mentioned his crush on Dr. Carter. Oh no.
And he's ordered to start recording the device, and on a video monitor we can see that the markings on the globe are actually some sort of writing, very, very tiny writing.
I did have a question. They mentioned the NID once a look. What is NID? Because they never spell it out.
No, I think there's
National Intelligence Department?
It's something like that. The NID is a division of the government, and Mayborn, Colonel Mayborn, who we've seen a couple of times, is working for them, and they are some sort of black ops that wants the alien technology for the weapons program. That's basically what the NID is. We will have some more episodes with them in the future, some Earth-based episodes where they feature more prominently.
Yeah, then they can complain again about how dangerous it is.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel thinks it might be a set of instructions, and he's pretty sure he can open it. He also, going over the thing, says there's thousands of pages of text on the surface alone. And then we have the mention of the NID, that Hammond says that they want to have a look at it, but the team advises against it. And Daniel wants to stay and confirm his theory, because they have to go on another mission. But Hammond says, I can postpone it for 48 hours.
24, I actually think, because they only have one extra day. Anyway, that's not really important. I wrote down, why schedule SG-1 for a primordial world in the first place? Because Daniel complains, we're going to a primordial world, you don't need me there. Yeah. And he has a point. You have scientist teams to go to those kinds of worlds. So why is SG-1 suddenly going to that world? And at the end of the episode, we know why, because we need a primordial world for a reason. Yeah. But to me, it makes no sense. And they need to know of it.
But then again, they can know of it if another team goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the setup is just a mention.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why send their team to that world. No, that was weird to me.
Absolutely. Sometimes they seem to forget they have other SG teams.
I mean, it's in the name, SG-1.
Yeah.
It's not SG Solo.
So, in the lab, they are running tests. And Sam wants to do more scans, and Daniel is trying to decrypt the text, and nothing he's doing is working. And then Jack comes in.
Okay, before we get into the whole Jack thing, I know I'm focusing on Daniel and his damn glasses, but Daniel is tired. He's been working all night. He has his glasses off, and he's looking at the monitor. He's not squinting. He's not leaning forward, which can only mean to me that he is not nearsighted. Because if he was nearsighted, he would need those to read, especially when tired. But he doesn't. So that rules out nearsighted. That leaves farsighted, or as you said last episode, it's just for show.
Yeah, it's decorative.
It's decorative.
Like Ted Mosby's spectacles.
Is this your challenge for yourself? Bring up Ted Mosby every episode?
It's just, I've been rewatching that show as well, so it's fresh on my mind. And whenever you bring up the glasses, I think of his decorative spectacles.
I would read that crossover fanfic though. Put those four in an SG team and send them off worlds. Like Ted Mosby going out of space because this world doesn't have his wife. He's got to broaden his search. Marshall just makes friend with everybody, including the Jaffa. Sorry, I'm just going on a tangent here.
You do have a good point that, and it is something I noticed myself, they don't really look tired. They don't really act tired. So you're trying to tell us that they've been working through the night and they are not really tired in the morning. I wish I had that stamina.
I mean, they are scientists with a new toy. I can totally get that because Jack comes in and is like, morning campers, and they're like, wait, no, what? Huh? What happened? but just you're, even if you aren't feeling that you're tired, your eyes still get tired.
Yeah.
So I have my eye on you, Daniel. I'll figure this out.
Well, suddenly there is an EM spike, and the temperature of the device is rising, and radiation is increasing. So Sam yells to bring the thing back, and Jack says to start dialing the gate. And then the orb opens up, and all kind of lights are shining out. So Jack and Sam are trying to dismount the device, and then spikes jump out.
And they are like unscrewing it, and it takes forever. I'm like, this is the but what? This
Yeah, there's
doesn't
no
look.
quick release on
There's
the
no
thing.
quick release on this thing. Like that seems like an oversight.
Yeah, Tilk remarks that it doesn't want to be removed. Then, for some reason, suddenly it goes very fast, but because in the next shot, Jack and Tilk are running with it. They are holding it by the spikes.
Yes, but they do have like something in between them. They grab like some cloth or something
Yeah.
to not touch it directly. Which
And
I
they
thought,
run into the gate room where the Stargate is activating. And suddenly, long spikes shoot out of it in all directions. They burrow into the ground, and one of them impales Jack on the shoulder. It hits him, it pushes him against the wall and goes into the wall. So he's stuck like a shish kebab.
yeah, and Richard is really selling the agony. It was because they get hurt a lot in the show, but he really like that has to hurt. Also,
Yeah.
it's keeping him up, and he's just dangling there, and like, I flinched a lot in this episode.
Yeah, he yells at Tilk to kill it. So Tilk runs out as the gate is being deactivated, and he's going to get his staff weapon. And at that point, also Doc Fraser runs in, and she remarks that the wound is surprisingly clean. There's no blood or trauma around it.
Yes, but then they also said the thing is super duper hot, and if you get stabbed by a lightsaber, it cauterizes you instantly. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, but there's no burn wounds. That's what she means by there's
Okay.
no real trauma. So there's no
Okay,
outside damage around the wound. That's how I interpreted it.
okay.
So no.
I wonder
burning
how
or-
she could tell that without even taking off his clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because they don't even have time to give the man a box, because that's the first thing Hammond says, give him a box to stand on. And I'm like, thank you. Because that's the first thing you do, right? You lift him up, you try to get the weight
Yeah,
off.
to get
but
his
then
feet
they all have to
planted,
run out
but-
again before they can even get the box. But sure, Doctor saw that there was no trauma.
Yeah.
For
Tilk
some reason.
comes in, he has his staff weapon, so they clear the room because they don't know what's going to happen if he fires. And Sam, looking out from in the control room, mentions that the energy might transfer into O'Neill, but they'll just have to see what happens. And Tilk fires the weapon, and indeed the orb absorbs it, and it shoots out into the spikes into O'Neill. Hammond then says he wants to cut it, but Sam remarks it might be several hundred times stronger than steel. In the next scene, Hammond is on the phone to Mayborn. We only see this side. They didn't have the budget to get the actor in. And
Well, you don't need it either.
no. Mayborn is complaining, but Hammond says that the base is now on lockdown. He informs us that the NID wants a weapon to fight the Goa'uld, so they're very interested. And Daniel and Sam are going to go over the data they've gathered to find a solution.
Is this when he initiates wildfire?
Yes,
And
this
wildfire,
is when
yeah. And wildfire means nothing in or out the base.
Yeah, and we see some outside exterior shots of the base and one very big door closing. And I remarked it looked a little bit CG.
And I was fairly sure you told me a story once, but maybe I made it up, that they had that door in real life, but they could only close it once for the shot because it took hours to get it back open again. I have to Google it now. Wait, I have to look it up now
It could
because
be that I told you that story, but that this door still was CG. That it was another shot. Because
it's
I
just
think-
the man
I think-
running just looks really familiar to me.
Yeah, but the shot of the door closing had no people in it. But I do remember that there are shots where we see people running around a door that
I'm
is
gonna look
closing.
it up.
So maybe that's a different shot, but you might be correct about the door.
I mean, it has been a long time. We're old.
Yeah.
So I might be misremembering. Well, look it up.
It's from way back in season 1.
Yes,
But yeah, he calls a complete lockdown of the base. So nobody in or out. And then in the gate room, the doc is treating Jack with antibiotics, and we also see Siler there trying to cut through the spikes, but it is not really working.
Which Teal'c says, your progress is unsatisfactory, which I loved so much.
I was wondering if this is the first time we see Siler. He might have been in the background of several other episodes.
I think we've
but
seen him before, but did he talk in the other ones?
that's what I think he's more in the front. He has something to do and he has lines.
We've
here.
seen him before. I'm pretty sure he's gotten his ass kicked before.
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm thinking. Because
he does.
he was the stunt coordinator on the show. So I'm thinking this might be the first time he has lines.
Yeah, I think so too.
Meanwhile, Daniel and Sam have gathered a team. For some reason, there's military.
I'm not sure
and
why they gather
scientists.
teams because they never
figured-
use them.
Yeah, they figured out themselves, but sure. But yeah, they have people and they're trying to go over everything. Meanwhile, the doctor has found that the bacteria, so there are bacteria in and on Jack and that they're multiplying. She has pumped him full of antibiotics because that seems to be the only thing to slow it down.
So this was the 90s where they weren't yet scared of getting immunity for antibiotics. It used to be like, oh, you know what, just put antibiotics in it. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
You have the sniffles, here's some antibiotics.
Yeah, it was bad.
They also mentioned that it is on his clothes and that it is slightly radioactive. So this gives Sam an idea. They're running with big UV lights and they turn all the lights off in the gate room.
Was I the only one who thought they looked a little bit like Daleks?
A little bit,
A little bit, right?
They're like these big
I
cones.
kind of want to see a UV Dalek now. Like, illuminate, sorry.
So, and then we see a shot of something that is illuminated and it travels through the spike into Jack, all over him, and into the wall of the base, and we can see it spreading.
And over his face a little too.
Is a big one right on his forehead. It's pretty cool. It's like growing something.
But then
then we have Simmons, and he's standing in the control room, and he looks at his hands, and the bacteria are all over it. So
he's like, Dr. Carter, what's happening to me? And I was like, yeah, I knew it was a bad call. I knew it was a bad sign that you were getting narrative attention. Like, no.
He's the red shirt of the episode. So yeah, the only thing they have to slow whatever it is down is, and I hope I wrote it down correctly, tetracycline or something like that.
Is it important?
Some kind of antibiotic. The main thing is Simmons is allergic
because
to it.
Of course he is.
Of course. They make a really big point that he's allergic. Remember this, it will barely come up again.
I think they just wanted to explain why he deteriorates
They
faster
needed
than
someone to show what the end result might be. So yeah, that's his function here. He's also a lot further along than O'Neill. So Hammond says, well, we can't bring anything else in or take anyone out. So there is no other drug for him. He mentions we might need to evacuate through the Stargate. But Sam counters that they can't rule out that the bacteria will follow them through. And they can't really go on and live on an uninhabited planet for long. And then we have this real cool shot from the camera down in the gate room. And we see Hammond standing in front of the window, and we go down, and we end up on Jack and Teal'c standing there, and we see that the bacteria is all over the walls. Yeah,
I do like how Hammond abides by Dr. Carter's professional opinion.
He wants to take care of them. He wants to find a solution.
Yeah, but while he's in charge, this is not his specialty, so he defers to the scientists, and then we get a very tender moment. No, not a tender. And then we get this buddy moment between Jack and Teal'c, which is very nice.
Yeah. Siler is still cutting the thing, and Jack is asking for Teal'c, which I really like because it's a very vulnerable moment for him. And Teal'c is like, "I'm right here." He wasn't even gone.
And Jack basically says, "You should take a break. You should go rest." And then Teal'c says, "Undomesticated equines could not remove me," which I thought was so on point for him.
Yeah, because Jack goes in to correct him. It's like, it's wild horses.
And then and then he realizes, you did that on purpose.
You made a joke.
You made a joke. was so cool.
And then we hear Sylar saying that he's almost through, but then the spike just moves deeper into the wall and the cut is gone. So it like slides up into Jack, into the wall, which causes him a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And then Sylar is preparing to continue, or at least, well, try again. And we can see that he as well is starting to be covered in the bacteria. Daniel and Sam are looking over the writing again, and they are seeing that it might be like math and numbers, and they seem to go up exponentially, but they don't really understand what it all means and why would it be on this orb. So they're still theorizing. They're not getting anywhere.
Well, the thing is, they're still on page 1.
Yeah,
They're still, and
They're
it's been days by this point. Like,
so the doctor is with Simmons. She's trying to calm him and tend to him, and he says he has a message for Sam. So the doctor says she will send her down.
I wrote down, oh, Simmons is a goner. I
Yeah.
wrote it down a lot of times because they were hitting all the tropey moments.
Yeah, Sam is going over some of the readings, and she notices that Tilk's staff weapon gave the thing energy, and that's why it's spreading. So she theorizes it also needs oxygen, so maybe they can use that. And at that point, the computer suddenly starts glitching. So the bacteria somehow got into the computer network. So she runs out and takes an elevator.
Which I wrote down, Sam, what are you doing? Don't take the elevator. You're smarter than that. And
Yeah.
then, guess what happens?
It gets stuck, and
And Sam goes surprised Pikachu face. I'm like,
yeah, and she starts yelling, and we were thinking like, oh, she's stuck for the rest of the episode. No, Daniel is just on the other side, and he gets her out.
Yeah, so they just want to show that the base is. But that does make me wonder, do they not have stairs to go from level
They
to
do.
level?
They do.
Then why didn't she just take the damn stairs?
I think they needed to fill time or something. I don't know. It was a very short scene, and there was no real danger. And then because even with the goop coming out, like the bacteria is somehow a goop that
now,
comes
yeah.
out of the
It only-
elevator.
only
It's
then.
a weird scene.
Yeah, only that is a goop.
Apparently, I was looking something up on the Stargate wiki. There's a goof because the numbers on the doors on the elevator apparently don't match. It says that she's on floor 22 when she gets stuck, and apparently on the door on the outside where Daniel is, it says 28. But
But then you also found on the wiki that they dialed the wrong gate address at the end of the episode.
yeah, but every time apparently when the gate is dialed, they have this remark like, it dials up, it does. Yeah, well, probably because they shot it once for the pilot and then reused the dialing sequence
Yeah,
over and
because
over and
they
over.
thought nobody is going to notice this because you're just gonna send it out on the TV, and they weren't planning on DVDs or TVs or any of that.
Yeah.
It used to be that you had to try and pause it on TV when you had recorded it,
Yeah,
If you
you
wanted to-
needed to record it first before you
Yes.
could pause it.
and then like take a picture of it somehow. So
Yeah, technology.
technology. Sorry.
So yeah, Daniel gets her out, and the bacteria runs into the elevator, and then she enters the control room, and they can see Teal'c trying to burn the bacteria, which is temporarily working. And Sam says that's because he's burning up the oxygen. So Sam thinks that they can deprive it from oxygen to maybe kill it or stop it. And at that point, suddenly the self-destruct of the base activates on its own, and since they're in the computer, they can't stop it. And since it also feeds on energy, if it goes off, it will spread over the face of the Earth, and they have about 3 hours before that happens.
I wrote down doom and despair this
Yeah.
episode.
Ticking clock.
Like
That's-
it's gonna destroy the entire world.
It's
Like
the one thing we didn't have yet. In the gate room, Jack blames himself, but Teal'c tells him it's not on him. They all wanted to bring it back. And Dr. Fraser is giving Sam another shot of the antibiotics because
right.
it seems to be working. And then she remarks that Simmons asked to pass by. So she goes over to his bed and she tells him to hang in there, and they're fighting it. And he tries to tell her his feelings, but stops and she walks out.
Well, yeah, but he has this very cute moment that he's trying, but he falters. And then he asks her, how am I doing so far? And she's like, you're doing just fine. So you have this moment where he knows she knows. And she's telling him, I know, buddy, it's okay. And I thought that worked really well. And then he closed his eyes and kind of leaned back. And I'm like, oh no, he's dead. But
Yeah. Daniel is sitting at one of the computers when he notices something on the screens, and it looks a lot like the symbol that is on the artifact. It like pushes through whatever image is on the screen. So it's trying to communicate. So he tells Sam and Hammond, but he doesn't yet know what it's trying to say.
Which makes me wonder then, why did you call the briefing? Like, something happened, okay, what is it? I don't know yet. And just Hammond gives him this look like, then go back and find out, you idiot. Like, it's just...
This is like, is it the first time that they just can't figure things out until the very, 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 very end of the episode? Like, they're constantly running behind. Sam offers to let it grow to see if they can understand it, if it evolves a little bit more. And Hammond correctly says to her, like, this is the opposite of what you've been telling me all along.
Well, yeah, but that's science.
Yeah.
It's pivoting, and it's like trying something out, and if it doesn't work, you know, sometimes your theory is wrong, and that's part of I'm explaining it wrong.
It shows that Hammond is just trying to do good for his people, and he's just a little bit he's also confused, like,
Yeah,
it's human. It
Yeah.
humanizes him.
But I do love the science part of it. Like, so Sam had a theory.
It's wrong.
She tried to prove it,
Yeah.
and she found out it's wrong. But that's just part of science. That's that's an outcome that's possible.
So yeah, they go into the gate room, and Sam thinks they can communicate through Jack, and she wants to take him off the medication, so they pump oxygen back into the room, and Sam goes to Jack, and she tells him that she's not sure if it's a good idea, and he may or may not survive.
But tactfully, you just say it so bluntly, but she says it in a better way than that.
She says it really, really compassionate, and
And then they hold hands.
yeah.
And his thumb strokes, like, it was very sweet. It was
a very good moment.
It was a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good moment. There were no words, and it worked really well.
Yeah, and he's not really there. He's just hanging there,
Yeah.
like half conscious. So she takes the IV out, and Teal'c starts shooting the orb again to give it more energy. So he shoots it multiple times, and Sam goes over to check Jack, and he has no pulse.
I don't want to undermine your dramatic moment here. I know you were going for like a pause. Like, it's season 1. They're not gonna kill him.
Season 2, honey.
It's season 2. You can cut that out. I do love that Carter goes again, and Teal'c again. He listens to her without question. Like, he doesn't go like, dude, we're killing him, or like, no. Like, Carter's in charge, and everybody listens. And I think that makes sense because she's the scientist. But that doesn't always mean that, you know, people follow the chain of command. So I really liked it here.
He then suddenly lifts his head and starts talking, and he, good morning, campers.
Yes, but in a very clearly not Jack way.
So Hammond introduces himself, but they say that they know who he is because they're in Jack's mind. So he says that they should know that they mean no harm, and the creatures say, "You have awoken us." So apparently their race was dying, so they created this orb, and once exposed to the atmosphere of a new planet, they would wake up and spread, and they can't go back to their old planets. At this point, they also have only 4 minutes on the countdown. So, ooh, it's all coming together. Hammond asks to stop it so they all can survive. And the creatures mention that O'Neill also wishes this. But they're kind of at an impasse. Where do they go and what can they do? So
If there was only a primordial world they were supposed to visit.
So Daniel comes up with that planet, and he says, like, there's lots of oxygen, there's lots of sunlight.
You cannot say oxygen.
I need a drink, that's just why. So yeah. But that way, both of them can survive, the humans and the other species. So suddenly, everything shuts down and starts rebooting. So Hammond immediately orders to start dialing the gate, and as the gate is being dialed, the auto-destruct keeps going. Jack comes down from the wall and takes the glowing orb in his hands. The gate forms and he walks up to the event horizon.
There's no rush. He just saunters over and
Yeah.
like very slowly.
And-
Like meanwhile the timer is going like, dude, can you hurry?
Yeah, and when the orb is through, he falls back unconscious and the countdown stops.
No, the countdown does not stop. They have to enter the code, and it comes down to like 3 seconds or so. And the way that I would fumble that code, like sometimes I have all the time in the world, no stress going on. Well, I mean, there's always stress, but you know. And the way that I have to put in my code in the laptop 3 times, and it still tells me it's wrong. Like, we would have died. Like, I would have blown up. Because that's a long code. Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. It reads Hammond, and it's like a really long code.
Yeah, the team rushes in and he comes to, and then he reiterates the joke about the wild horses. And as Hammond watches on, they walk back down from the gate.
And we cut to credits, and we never find out what happens to Simmons. So we had to go to the wiki in a very big panic to find out that he returns in later episodes. So he lives.
Yeah, he will be returning in episode 15 of this season, A Matter of Time. And he will also return, apparently, in season 6, episode 1, Redemption Part 1. Okay. So he survived.
But I was like, but what about Simmons? Suddenly, yeah, problem solved. Hup.
I tried looking it up, but I can't find any information. Maybe it's in one of the commentaries on the DVD, but I didn't have time to look that in. But my theory is that they might have shot some extra footage, but it landed on the cutting room floor.
If only they didn't need to put that elevator scene in there, like that very important elevator scene. Yeah. Sometimes they make weird choices.
They do that because they need a certain amount of action scenes because they think people will fall asleep if you don't, or there might be a commercial break.
True,
and they need a cliffhanger in front of it.
Your 4 acts need to be a certain length because you need the commercials to make sense.
And you need some cliffhangers to get the people coming back.
Like back in the old days, they edited these things to fit between the commercial breaks. So it would make sense. Like you would have a little fade to black. And then when it came back, it would give you like a brief, like a whole recap, but it would help you pick back up. It was in acts. It wasn't like now, like suddenly out of the blue commercials in the middle of a sentence or something. Like we didn't have any of that.
No. Well, streaming nowadays doesn't have commercials anymore. It just goes. And I do have the feeling that sometimes you miss those arcs, like the rise and the fall and then the rise and the fall. So it just goes and goes and goes and then stops. And you didn't have that back then. You needed to have like a rising arc and then, cliffhanger and then commercials.
Yeah, and even your cold open, was recapped just a little bit in the first.
Yeah, because after the credits was the first commercial block, I think, most of the times. Not over here. That's actually quite funny because there's more commercials in America than there are over here.
I remember the first time I watched, it was Gargoyles. And Gargoyles is an animation series. And it was only 20 minutes long. And I remember the first time I saw it over there, it was like cold open, commercial. The cold open, the intro, commercial. And I'm like, what? And they even had a commercial right before the credits. And I'm like, it took half an hour instead of 20 minutes.
That's the one I'm most confused about. And you see that in a lot of series that right before the end credits, they would have this short commercial block. And I was like, there's nothing left of the episode.
Yeah, but they had to fill in the thingy.
Yeah.
And then but at least they still showed the credits. Like now on streaming, they skip ahead or they say if you like this, I'm trying to read the credits. Do you mind?
Yeah, but they did it. Not over here, but when we were in America, they would squeeze the credits sometimes to half an image and have the commercials already run beside it.
I don't remember that.
Time's money. Anyway, the episode on the whole, what are your feelings about it?
I like it a lot. Okay, I'm blanking a bit. No, I like it a lot. It was very Stargatey. Even though we were on world, we don't really go off world all that much. I do feel they made the intro extra spacey to compensate for the fact that they don't go off world. I do love that we have a similar storyline in season 1 where an entity takes over Jack because they need to get home or they need a better home. But it's, even if at the core it's kind of the same, it's a completely different execution. And that just goes to show that like a core idea can just go so many different directions, which I really liked.
I do like that it's again very different. It's some kind of species we don't really get a sense of what they are. Are they really bacteria, or were they something else before the civilization went down? But it's new. It's not really an enemy they can fight with force. So it's a whole different kind of episode, and I kind of like that. Like you said, it's more sciencey. They have to find a solution, but it's difficult because they don't understand the other species, which is, I think, very realistic.
And the team really starts to... Well, I mean, they always worked well together as a group, but you can really feel that they're getting closer and closer as a unit, basically. I mean, Daniel makes not fun of Sam for having someone who has a crush, but like, hey, you know the guy has a crush on you, right? And then Teal'c and Dan and Teal'c and Jack.
I think he wasn't in it a lot, Simmons, but the way they handled it was pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't really make fun of it.
No. Which is, and I also like Jack and Teal'c call each other friend in this one. And that was really because they were already fellow soldiers working together, and Teal'c would never abandon a fellow soldier, like in a common goal. But this feels more like friendship now.
Yeah,
they've arrived at that point,
which makes sense because they have similar backgrounds. Like they're both military men. They've done stuff. Like they bond over these unspoken things that they have in their past.
Yeah, and they work really well together, even though Jack never shuts up and
Teal'c always shuts up. But that's what makes it work. I think they're the odd couple, and it really works.
Yeah, Teal'c's makeup is always on point. Like he has this, I'm pretty sure they shave his eyebrows and then they paint it back on, and then he has this dark. And I'm not a makeup person. I never wear makeup, but I can appreciate it in somebody who knows what they're doing. It's on point. Like. Which means he has to go off base and buy makeup, which I love. And gets stared at by people like, what are you doing? Like, do you not put on makeup? Like, and just makes it a point of staring at people like, are you not manly enough to wear makeup? What is wrong with you?
That would be a good one actually for an episode.
Because, he comes from an Egyptian-based society. Like, everybody put on makeup there.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah, it's not gendered.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He probably at one point was like, Jack, why don't you wear makeup? Like, maybe sometimes.
Yeah, this was a very good episode.
What's the next one?
The next one is titled Family and will focus on Teal'c's son again. So looking forward to that one because I'm starting to see that like in these first, 6 episodes, we haven't seen Teal'c do that much. So I'm happy we can focus on him a little bit.
But he does have his moments that are very much in character, related to the story. I wonder how big the son is going to be. Did they have to recast him? Is it the same actor, do you know?
I think it's the same actor, but I'll have to check. But
because he was about like this, so he's gonna be like
he's taller,
he's in that was in that age where you blink and they have the voice change happening and they grow. Like you have to shoot really fast sometimes when you're working with teenagers.
The thing is, because he's not always on base and time is it's not very strict in the time that passes. So
Wiki would disagree with you. Wiki has figured it out probably. There's got to be a timeline on there that says how much time has passed.
What I'm wanting to say, it's probably about a year later, and the kid is a year older, so it matches.
Yeah.
And he's been away, so the fact that he's changed a little bit helps you in the story, I think.
Yeah.
So that's gonna work probably in the advantage of the story.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like Stranger Things where college kids are trying to pretend that they're...
No. So yeah, that's next week's episode. We really liked Message in a Bottle, and I have high hopes for Family next week. So yeah.
And I am building a Stargate out of Lego.
And it's looking cool. So yeah, if we get further along, well, if
No, there's blocks I don't have, so
Yeah, but
you're
will-
gonna have to order them for me.
but we're gonna post pictures, right?
Yeah,
When it's a little bit more complete.
yeah. I mean, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the basic shape.
All right. Very cool. Things to look forward to. We'll see you all next week for the next episode. Bye.